Where the window says the first layer, hit that. Then go back up, start stream. Okay. Alrighty, we have, who do we got here tonight? We'll go up and find out who is all with us. There's TK's 3D Prints. We got Jerry Knapp from 3D Printing and Painting. We got DePark88. Gary T. Who else we got? We got Meatball. There's Meatball from Oregon. Welcome, everybody. What is the riddle of steel? You guys can see what's going on there. What is the riddle of steel? Hey, there's... that's Antennas BC. Ward Proctor, Rover, good evening. R. Smith, hello. Thought we'd start a couple minutes early tonight. Mr. Wilson, what's cooking? Well, I'm cooking Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan, which I found on Thingiverse. And then I doubled the size and I'm printing it in marble PLA. That's what's cooking. So, yeah, we'll switch back to the main camera now. There we are. Hi guys, how is everybody this evening? I hope you guys are doing well. I've got the chat open right here beside me so I can see what you guys are talking about. Hey, there's Rob Walls. Good evening from rainy Calgary. Yes, it is a very rainy Calgary. Rob, I hope your printer's doing okay. Rob came and got his printer this week, and we had fixed it up for him. Got it all back up and running. I hope that's the same Rob that was in this week. I think it is. Love this shirt or this shirt? You gotta tell me what shirt you love. My flame shirt? Brian Baker, look at the colorful shirt. Hello from Anaheim. Brian Baker is down in Anaheim with the lovely Jess Corniching. They are at a Halo convention of sorts, and then they're going to Star Wars land, or wherever that is. Galaxy's Edge, that's where they're going. So, my wife's complaining about something. Hey, there's Chris Galata. Oh, my wife is here tonight. She's manning the board down there. Put your arm up and say hi, honey. There she is. Don't twiddle your thumbs. It's a sign of old age. I've been twiddling my thumbs since I was in my young age, actually. John Kitchen, hello from wet Florida. Well, it's wet Calgary here right now.
Isn't the tornado coming up your way? Tornado's coming up that way.
TK says, I'm listening to the stream. I'm in VR sculpting, so he's sculpting. Hey, there's Joseph Jolly, hello. Couple things I want to follow up on. Ben Brady, hello, sir. I was going to contact all the winners from last week's contest this week. I did not get a chance to. Some things have happened this week that kind of A, set me off, and B, I was down for a couple of days, and now I'm back. I'm here at the studio today. I came into the studio to do work today and got absolutely nothing done. Doors were open today, so I was dealing with some customers. Scott Worthington, hello, sir. Okay, I'll stop twiddling my thumbs. I'll drink some of my lovely McDonald's Coke. Beverage. So while I was waiting on customers today, in between, I didn't feel like I could get any recording done, so I didn't get any recording done today, but I did play Infusion a little bit. And tonight I want to talk a little bit about this guy over here, the TiVo. It's not going to be my final review. We're going to just talk about a couple things. And I'm making a 7-inch screen as a monitor for my camera. So we'll see how that goes. But Zena, how's the store coming along? The store is coming along slowly but surely. The store was great today, busy, a little bit. We're not typically open on a Saturday, but I knew that there were a couple of clients coming in today, and yeah, it turned out to be a full day. TiVo looks great. It actually, let's get into that TiVo, and you guys can ask me questions about it in a few minutes. I've done some changes to this TiVo. I did a couple of prints on it. The first print came out great. There's a little bit of Z-banding, but not much. There was no ghosting or anything like that. Let me just go over to this camera right here. You guys will be able to see this a little bit better. Maybe not. Maybe I have to pull it back a little bit. So this is the cube that I did. This is in I'm not even sure, Color Fab's matte black, but this came out remarkably well. So that wasn't, oh, my wife didn't switch cameras. She's not paying attention. Switch, cut, there you go. There you go. Got to teach her everything. So let me see if I can pull that back. You guys can see it a little better. So there's no ghosting on here, but there is a little bit of Z banding. Top came out beautiful. There's a little bit of Z banding. So I decided I would go ahead and print another model. I'd print the Conan model in gray, and I'll just grab it from the back here and you guys can see it. So the Conan model, on camera it looks fine. However, there's quite a bit of Z banding right up in here in the cheeks, throughout the hair, of course. There's a lot of salmon skinning on the rounder areas of the biceps, some in the chest as well. So it looks good from far, but it's far from good. So what I decided to do was, first of all, I took off the power supply. The power supply is only a 200 watt, 8.5 amp power supply. So I turned around and took that off, and I put on a Meanwell 350 30 amp power supply. I believe it's a 30 amp power supply. Let me just double check here. Yes, it is a 30 amp power supply. So it heats up much faster. It looks great. It operates fine. But the results on this Conan are because of the steppers that come on the board. Now, I've replaced the steppers with 2208s on the X, Y, and Z, and I replaced the extruder stepper to a LV 8729, I think is what it is. And so far, the difference is night and day. There's a lot of things that are quite different. I'm going to take a look at some of the questions here. Sometimes show us the store on camera, outside, inside. I will do that, Jerry, I promise. Raymond Emsley, hello. Raymond is one of our moderators tonight. Dave Tellman, hello, sir. Minnesota Maker, hey guys. He says, Rob McHugh, what's up Saturday night? Well, we're just kind of hanging out tonight. That's what we're doing. We're talking a little bit about the TiVo tonight. I did not put on this bed adhesion piece. I just didn't feel that it was necessary. I just put a piece of glass on there and it's working just great. I've got some things I'm printing right now. I jumped into doing stuff in Fusion today, and it was really, really strange because I haven't done a lot. I've actually done nothing in Fusion, to be perfectly honest. I've done, okay, a couple of minor things, but nothing serious. So today I decided I wanted to make a case for a 7-inch monitor, and we'll go back to the widescreen shot here. I wanted to do a case so that I could make a run and gun monitor for my camera, for my DSLR, which I use when I go out on location and stuff like that. So it was an adventure. I got half of it designed. I'm going to see if it actually fits in there. I think it might be just a tad too tight, but I will be double checking that and making sure that I got it right. And then Raymond can come and check my math when he comes in on Tuesday. There's RT. Hello, Richard. 3D PA, good evening. 3D Medic Vince, hello. So there seems to be some, yeah, the marble looks amazing. I really like that marble. That's the stuff from Arion. As most of you know, we had a bad week on Wednesday when we uploaded the Arion Filament review. Whenever I give a review, my reviews are my opinion and my opinion only. They're not purchased, they're not anything like that, they're not sponsored. I like the filament. Every roll I've gotten of this filament has been rolled perfectly. Everything has been consistent. Somebody mentioned that I didn't know how to measure filament correctly. And here's what kills me about that. You don't have to take off a piece of filament, straighten it out to get your reading. All you have to do is pinch it from two sides and you will get the reading. If you pinch it on this bias where it's curling, you'll get a consistent reading. So that, for lack of a better word, pissed me off this week. Not to mention a couple of other comments that came in this week. And most of the time, I could care less about the haters. I really could. But this week, I don't know, it was just one of those weeks that everything was kind of getting on my nerves, and when it blew up on Wednesday, yeah, I was not a happy camper. What do we got here? We have, hey, there's Rex Waldy. Good evening. We are all friends. Raymond, you're fired. Use Design Spark Mechanical, Ben's saying. Lots easier than Fusion 360. I'll have a look at it for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Irked you. Yes, okay, irked me is a good term. Stronger language than that. I was mad. You can ask my wife how mad I was when I got home. Brian's down in Anaheim right now, so if anybody's out there, go stalk him. Him and Jess are out there at 405th Halo convention of some sort. Hey, there's Rain 3003 from Belgium. Well, good evening, sir. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, yeah, let's talk about this Arion filament. Any of the Arion filament I've used, I have had good success with. Everything from that purple glittery stuff right through to the marble, through the gray, the whites. Everything's worked great for me. Excuse me. This pop out of the fountains always makes me burp. James R., stop giving the trolls attention, bro. Yes, I need to stop giving the trolls attention. However, it did get under my skin this week. So, moving on from the trolls. There was something over on our Facebook this week that I had to do this week as well, and what was it? Oh, yes, we got a complaint this week, actually it was last week, and I want to touch on it. Where's your drink? Right here, Johnny. Right here. There was a post put up that I found humorous. A few other people found humorous, but it only takes one to be offended by it. And I had to delete the post, even though the adult portion of that post was blurred out. The message was still there, and I had to take it down. So in future, if you people would please just bear in mind that a lot of families watch our show, and we have a lot of family people that go onto our Facebook as well, and it's not hard with the amount of people that we have over there to offend somebody. So just to keep everything on the up and up, let's avoid anything that could be considered controversial. Can I talk about printing with larger nozzles? Ben's asking. Yes. What's your suggestion to switch to a wood plate? Steps to do or tips? Thanks.
It's wood PLA, not plate.
Oh, wood PLA, not plate. Okay. Let's tackle that one first. Wood PLA, I like wood PLA. I've printed with it a few times. I have some wood PLA here that every once in a while I'll print with. It smells nice when you're printing. Yes, you can sand it. Yes, you can stain it. You can't use regular stains. You have to use a gel stain on it if you're going to stain it. And you have to do several coats for it to penetrate into any of those fibers. Remember that your base is PLA plastic, so it's only wood fibers. Now, as far as nozzles go for that, I would go up to a 0.5 or a 0.6 nozzle if I'm going to print with that stuff, just because at 0.4 and lower it can clog up pretty easily, and it can make a real mess of your 3D printer.
Not only that, but when you sand it, it's not smooth like you were thinking, like plastic.
Yeah.
It does still have the wood roughness on it.
That's right. My wife was, for anybody that didn't hear that, my wife was saying when you sand it, it still has a bit of a wood feel to it. It doesn't sand smooth like regular PLA. Let's talk about larger nozzles, printing with larger nozzles. Anytime you're going to print with a larger nozzle, it's going to print faster because it's moving more material through the nozzle. The smaller the nozzle, the more constricted, the slower you're going to have to go. The bigger the nozzle, the faster you can go. So how does that affect people like me who are doing prints like Arnold Schwarzenegger right here? Going to a bigger nozzle doesn't benefit me because I like to get the detail and I like to give my wife as little sanding as possible when it comes down to it. But if you're printing stuff like vases or vases, depending on how you pronounce it, or you're doing handles and things like that for drawer pulls or for your toolbox or whatever, anything that you're going to make that doesn't need a lot of detail, by all means, go to a bigger nozzle. Go to a 0.5, 0.6, 0.8. Going anything larger than that, I would probably go to a different hot end, like a volcano. That way your plastic stays hotter for a longer throw inside the heat block. 3D printing and painting says, oh no, I see Conan's boobs. I'm offended that you are offended, Chris Collada says. I'm offended by people being offended. Double jeopardy. Okay, we're done with the offending. Being offended. Brian's saying he prints with a 0.6. It introduces new headaches at times. You may also want a block like a volcano, and that's what we were just talking about. Any changes I need to make for Micro Swiss hot end? About to put one on my Ender 3. Johnny, yes, there are some changes you're going to have to make. You're going to have to reduce your retraction down to about down to 4 millimeters or lower. I have mine set right around 4, and I never seem to get a clog. Other than that, putting that thing together can be a bit of a challenge. What you want to do, Johnny, and I wish I had a close-up camera to be able to show you guys this. And wish I had my... It's right here. Look at that, right there. Let's bring this camera over. We'll move Arnie out of the way. And we're just going to tilt this one down onto the table. Okay, let me just switch cameras here. There we go. Okay.
So now I have to cut.
Yeah. All right, so here's what you get with your nozzle, or with your micro-Swiss hot end. What you want to start with is the block. I always keep one of these in my office because I show customers this all the time. Start with the block. Take the throat, which you'll find in with the heatsink. Now when you look at the block, you're going to see that there's screw heads. You want to make sure those are facing down. So that the screw heads are not facing up. You're going to screw you're going to thread the throat right into the block first. Normally we do it the other way, but in the case of a micro-Swiss, it's a little bit backwards. Then you're going to take the nozzle, which is a 0.4 stainless steel nozzle, and you're going to thread that in and bottom it out. So you want to make sure that those two things are bottomed out against one another. If you need to, just kind of take your wrench and give it a little tighten. Okay, then you're going to put your heater cartridge and your thermistor in. You're going to lock your thermistor in with that little screw that comes with it. Heat this up until it is at 210, 220, somewhere in there. Once you've heated it up, get your wrench and a pair of vice grips or a pair of channel locks to hold this. Give this just a little bit more of a tighten. Don't get all Hulk on it, but give that nozzle just a little bit of a tighten so it seats it against the throat. Then let this cool down. Take the heatsink, mount that onto your where your existing heatsink was. There's two screws in here that you'll use. They're countersunk, so they'll fit in really nice. Once this is in place, you're going to take one of the grub screws, just kind of thread a grub screw into that little hole. Then when this is all cooled down, you're just going to drive that up into the bottom of it till it sits nice and flush, and then tighten up your grub screw, put on your silicone sock, and button everything up, and you should be good to go.
Bob says, can't the screws go up?
Can't the screws go up? No. On this particular one, you want to have these two screws facing down. The reason is that you're going to need to tighten them from the bottom, because this is going to clamp around your heater cartridge. So it's easier to get to them when they're down here as opposed to being up here. Hobby Rob. I'm the Richard. I want the thing printed for me. And it comes home and Who is that?
Yeah. Hobby Rob asked if I like the 3D print. Does
Oh.
your wife like 3D printing? And I said, no, I'm not so much a 3D printer. I'm Richard, print that for me. And then it comes home.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know what that was all about. What's the sock for? This is like the old days of the insulation. You put it around, it helps to keep the heat in, helps you from getting burned if you accidentally touch it.
Yeah, that hurts.
And trust me, I've been burned many, many times. So put the silicone sock on. It's just extra insurance, and it helps to keep the heat into the block as well. So, and the silicone sock won't melt. Does printing with a larger nozzle affect the strength of the print? It can. It depends on how many walls you're using, how much infill you use. The sparser the infill, the less strong it's going to be. It's the same thing even if you scale it down. You know, if you're using a 0.4 nozzle, if you don't need a lot of strength, you're going to use like 10% infill. If you do need a lot of strength, you're going to do a lot more infill. So we'll go back to the main shot. My wife's on the controls today. There we go. Hey, there's Tempest. Socks are the best thing. They are. They keep your feet warm too. Well, not these socks, but yeah. My wife says we're ridiculous.
You're ridiculous.
Oh, I'm ridiculous. Okay. So yeah, basically what I would do is if you're gonna play around with this kind of stuff, then always make sure that you know you're doing it safely and that nobody's getting hurt.
Jerry Knapp wants to know about this.
Jerry Knapp wants to know about this. Well, this is two things, Jerry, and let me kind of explain what they are. This is the 3D printed Edelchrome mount. That's what that is. So I 3D printed. Edelchrome sent me a kit, and the kits are cheap if you want to get one. I think they're like 25 bucks in the US, which is all the metal parts. You 3D print all the rest of it. You put it all together, and now I can position it. I've tightened this up pretty much, so it gives me a lot more flexibility on the camera, and I can move the camera around and do all kinds of stuff. There's the back of my wife's head. And there we go. So
even the bottom of it's 3D printed?
the bottom's just a Manfrotto desk stand. It's just a little tripod. They're not very expensive. I think they run in around 40 bucks in the US, if I'm not mistaken. They're about 40 bucks in the US. So yeah, that's Tempest. Speaking of Tempest, I have a model that is getting ready to go into paint for you. So we're going to have to get into contact with one another at some point in time. This is the Batman we talked about for your buddy who lost all of his stuff. So if you want to contact me privately, just Richard at thefirstlayer.com, or you can contact me on Facebook. You know how to get a hold of me. Hobby Howie, my wife just asked. She would like to know where in Canada and how is the weather. Well, we're up in Calgary, Alberta, and it's been raining off and on all day. We are...
I had to put gas in the rain.
My wife's complaining she had to put gas in the rain.
It's not my job.
It's not her job, she says. That's my job. So, yes, the weather is shitty right now, and yeah. It's not great. You are very welcome, 3D printing and painting. Oh, thank you very much, Johnny. I appreciate that. Johnny just gave us $20 in our Super Chat. Now, Super Chat is open for anybody. What we're doing with that Super Chat money is we're putting it all towards our trip to Shenzhen next year. And we are planning on going in October next year to Shenzhen, and myself, and I don't know who's coming with me. My wife says she doesn't want to go, so it might be Brian if you can get the time off. And we're going to go do some factory tours while we're out there. Do you like the TiVo? Terry Murphy is asking. I do, actually. I quite like it. It's got some things I really like. It's got some things I'm not overly sold on. The power supply, which is right here. This is the power supply. And now my wife's wrecking things. So the power supply on this is only a 200 watt, 24 volts, 8.5 amp power supply. This is just barely enough to run this machine. For the price, I think this is a great machine. Is it an Ender 3 killer? No. Do I think it's an Ender 3 contender? Absolutely. This has a volcano on it. It's got a volcano-like nozzle. It's not an actual volcano nozzle. It also has a Titan-like extruder on it. Not a genuine Titan. It does come with one lead screw. There's only 2 printed parts on this whole thing. Everything else is molded plastic or machined aluminum, which to me is a great benefit. I do like the fact that they got this nice little screen on the front. I also like the fact that they've got a reset button on the front. The only thing I don't like is that they don't have a button over the button so you can actually reach it. So, Hobby Rob, can you tell something about the SKR 1.3, the steering board? The steering board. I like to use the Ramps 1.4, but you have to keep up with the Tim. The 1.3, I have a couple here. I have not really explored them very much yet. I am going to do a full video on them. For the money, I think they're a good board. I think they're worth it. For the programming headache, because you can't use Marlin, because it's a whole different chipset, like you can't use the Arduino IDE to program your Marlin. You have to use either Visual Studio or Atom. The other one is Atom. I think that it's definitely going to be a contender, and I think it's going to throw Ramps 1.4 right to the curb. And I think within another year or so, Ramps 1.4 stacks even are going to be a dinosaur. And I think they're a dinosaur now. I don't use a stack where you're using an Arduino Mega underneath and then you're using a Ramps board on top. I think they're just so cloned that they're just so poorly designed, or they've got poor components on them. Like the blade fuses, they will pop even if you just look at them wrong. Jolly says he's dodging a hurricane in Orlando. I do feel very, very sorry for you. I do hope, Jolly, that you can get into shelter, and I hope that everybody is okay down there. Keep us informed. Scott Worthington, is it the Tarantula Pro? Yes, this is the Tarantula Pro. I put a piece of glass on it because, like I said earlier, I'm not interested in this. Yes, this is the surface that it comes with. Yes, it's a build tack like surface. Is it any good? I couldn't tell you. It probably is. What I don't like is the holes to access the screws. I like the screws that go down through here to be locked off. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and put on some nylock nuts so that when I turn the wheels, I don't have to worry about having an Allen key in the screw to adjust the bed. I think that's counterintuitive. Jolly glad you are bouncing Dorian away from us. Oh, okay. Thermal runaway is enabled also. Yes, it is enabled. I have checked out the firmware. I made some firmware changes to this one just because I put on the 2208 stepper drivers. Now this thing is like night and day in terms of quietness. And that's something to their credit that I respect immensely, is that they put in an MKS Gen L board, which is a name brand board. Yes, it's an 8-bit board, but it is a board that you can service. So it's a great little board. I like the way that they've buttoned things up in the back. I like the fact that you know, they've got a place to install a BL Touch if you want to put a BL Touch on there, along with the port on the back that you can just kind of plug it in. I think that's a great way to set things up for future upgrades, which a lot of companies, including Creality, doesn't do. So I will give them credit on that, but I will say that this does need a bigger power supply. I have a full review of this, a build and review. That's 2 videos that are coming out on the TiVo Tarantula Pro, and I think you know, overall, I'm happy to put it into my collection of printers.
Are you running your printer on detailed 128 or 1 to 256?
128 or 256. Louis, let me just see. Are you running your printer on? Oh, microstepping. I'm actually doing 1/16 microstepping. I'm not that high on this board. Louis Eric Samar. Yeah, I'm only running it at 1/16 microstepping. You can't use Atom anymore, Ben's saying. It's no longer supported by Platform IO. So then you're going to have to use Visual Studio by Microsoft in order to do the programming on the SKR boards. For anybody that doesn't know, we do have merch available. T-shirts like this, both in gray and purple, and or dark gray and purple. We've also got our newest one, which is only going to run till the end of September, which is the what is it called? Keep Calm T-shirt. So yeah, if you guys want to get some, go check out our Teespring store. I thought I'd throw that in real quick. So we've been on for half an hour. Let's keep this going. Rob, Hobby Rob, you're welcome for the answer. Johnny Kitchen says he's between Tampa and Orlando. Yeah, I haven't heard much about that hurricane, so yeah, you guys all stay safe down there. I hope that you guys are doing okay.
Board up your windows.
Yeah, board up your windows. Keep the alligators out of your house, or the crocodiles, or out of your pool as well. What movie just came out that had that? There's a big storm that happens, and the girl and her father get caught in gators in their house. Gators in their house. With some really good videos out this week. Uncle Jesse Clayton put out a good couple of videos on resin. We're going to be doing some more resin stuff here very soon. I'm going to bring in the D7 that I have at home, and we're going to talk about resin printing. Hey, there's Ken Jansen in Oklahoma. Hello, sir. Good evening, and welcome to the show. We're going to be getting... I've got some audio equipment I'm going to be getting rid of soon. Audio and video equipment that I no longer need. And I need to upgrade some cameras in here. So if anybody's interested in anything like that, I've got a Blackmagic television studio. It's the 1080p version. So if anybody's interested in that, you can always just email me or message me on Facebook, and we'll get rid of that. I want to get rid of some of that stuff that I'm not using anymore, and it's just collecting dust in my home. And to be perfectly honest, it's all in really great shape. What am I doing? I'm just chilling. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Arion Filament again, real quick. Arion's had their problems. Some people have had good batches, some people have had bad batches. I've had great batches, and nothing I've had has been bad. Rob says, I'm going to bed. 'Tis here night. Until next time, kind regards from the Netherlands. Rob, thank you very much, sir, for coming by, and thank you for being a part of our audience. I really enjoy that. Thank you.
Thanks for staying up late.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late and being with us. Yeah, Arion Filament. I've not had any problems with it. I know there have been people that have. Raymond has had problems with his black. Other people have had problems with their black. I haven't had any issues. So if you're having issues, I encourage you to reach out to the representatives this week and let them know. Contact Arion, let them know. That's the only way that they're going to improve and they're going to get their quality control under control. I can't do anything about it. Scott Worthington loves Arion Filament. Louis Eric, have you played with the 2209s? I'm updating my old CR10S with the SKR 113 with the 2209s, not live yet. I have not played with the 2209s yet. They kind of combine the 2130s and the 2208s, so they have kind of the best of both worlds. So I would do a little bit more research. Hello, Jeremy Lucas.
Where do Canadians go when they retire?
Where do Canadians go when we retire?
They go to Florida.
Well, some of us go to Florida. Others move in with their kids. That's a dig at mine. I've had issues with the steampunk filament, Jeremy Lucas says. See, in Canada, we can't get everything that you guys get in the States, which really kind of ticks me off. Like this thing here. This is not available in Canada. I had to order this from Amazon US. Good thing that they sent me the money to order it from Amazon US, but I don't know why they couldn't have just shipped it to me from China. How's your CR10S? I'm thinking about buying one. I love Max. I absolutely love my CR10S. I have two of them. They are workhorses. They work 24/7 for the most part. I'm always printing something on them, and usually I'm printing larger stuff, or I'm doing gang stuff on them, and or like many parts. And I think they work great. I've got mine tuned up to the point where I print a lot of figure stuff on them. So I am using now the Wanhao Duplicator 7, the DLP printer resin, for doing fine detail stuff like heads and hands and guns. Niagara Falls into the barrel. Louis, your CR10 was an endless stream of problems. Almost everything has been replaced on it. I'm sorry to hear that. I've not had a bad one yet. Yeah, sometimes you just get a lemon. Raymond got a Ender 3 that no matter what we did to it, the damn thing just would not work. It worked fine for me here. Once Ray got it home, it didn't work. Once we replaced the whole thing for him, it was he was happy as a clam. Just added a BL Touch to my longer, easy install. Love it. Tempest, I've not had any success with my longer LK4. That's why I have not released any videos on it yet, because it still does not work properly. It hasn't worked properly since I got it, since I built it. So I'm going to have to get some time to contact them. How do you like that Creality camera, Chris Collada is asking. I actually like this little thing.
After you got it working.
It didn't take long to get it working.
I thought you broke it.
No, I didn't break it.
You said you did. And then you figured it out. Maybe you just read the instructions.
My wife says I broke it. I didn't break it. I love it. This thing is a great solution for anybody that doesn't want to go through the pain and headache of setting up an Octoprint box. This thing just works really, really nice. You put an SD card into it that you've sliced your models on, plug it into your printer, plug it into the wall so it gets power, and you can print right from that SD card that's inside the camera. You can also record to it. What I don't like about it is that it doesn't do time-lapse videos. What I do like about it is once you've got it set up on your phone, you can monitor it from anywhere as long as you've got an internet connection. Gotta ask, just got 5150 layer fans from Amazon. Gonna try a Pets Fang. Besides the noise, anything I should be worried about on the Ender 3 Pro? Hobby Howie, I wouldn't do a Pets Fang. Sorry to say that. I wouldn't do the big Pets Fang. I would do the Bullseye, if anything. The Bullseye is a far better cooler for that. It's smaller, it's less intrusive, and it works great. Johnny says, I love my CR10S Pro. Scott says he has one of these. Scott, what do you think of yours? Scott Worthington. I think this thing's great. Derek brought it in for me as something to play with and try. It works great. I have it plugged into my CR10 so I can start and stop prints here. Because I don't like the little SD card, I have one of these larger SD card dealios that just kind of plugs in there, and now I can use a larger SD card. I hate micro SD cards for this kind of stuff. They're too tiny for my big fat hands. This is William Patton. This is kind of like Octoprint, but for what is it, $69 in Canada, and very little hassle, I think it's worth it.
Okay, so 3D printing llama.
What's that?
3D printing llama.
3D printing llama.
I just got Wise cams, $20. Does time lapse monitors from anywhere secure.
Yes. Oh, well, there you go. I haven't seen the Wise cams, so I can't comment on them.
Write that down. Wise cam.
Yeah, I've had good luck with the Bullseye as well. Raymond's letting Hobby Howie know that, to be honest, he took his Pets Fang off. It was causing him more problems than it was worth. Too much airflow. Yeah, so Chris, I've got some stuff going out to you on Tuesday, where it's a holiday here in Canada on Monday. So for all those guys that won, I will be contacting you all next week and getting you your codes and shipping out the stuff that I have to ship out. Like I said, it was a bad week this week. Scott says, I have used the 3D viewer on about 20 of my different printers and it works great. Yeah, I think this thing works great too. It's nice and small. It's got a magnetic base, which I like. I think you can peel this off and stick it to the wall too. If I'm not mistaken, you can stick it anywhere. A Weiss camera are just not meant for printers, Scott's saying. Actually, Secure Cam was pointing at my printer during setup and went DOH. Perfect print monitor cam for $20. Can't complain. Hey, if you got it for $20, that's great. Running Bullseye on my Ender 3 Pro now, John Kitchen says. I like the Bullseye. I've got it on one of my printers now. It works great. I don't have any issues with it. I have had issues with the Pets Fang on my CR10 though. Overcooling. And then prints not sticking to the bed because it's overcooling, and then pulling up and then causing me a disaster. Do you have any scoop on what's happening with Simplify 3D? They are hiring a lot of people, but nothing's happening upgrade-wise. Simplify 3D, and now this is only my speculation, okay? Don't quote me on this, but my understanding is that they are planning on releasing Simplify 3D 5, but all of us people who have Simplify 3D will no longer have that free upgrade path to 5. They are going to charge all of their current customers to move to 5. Maybe that's why they're hiring a bunch of people, because they're expecting a backlash, but the last I heard they were going to charge for Simplify 3D 5, so we won't get a free upgrade path to 5 like the terms of service have told us that we would. That's all I really know. Has anybody... Oh, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen. Hey all, has anyone had any experience with 3D Gloop for PLA and where to find it in Canada? Well, 3D Gloop. Right there. This stuff works frickin' amazing. You cannot find it in Canada. You have to order it from 3D Gloop in the States. They will ship it to you. I like it. It works great. It smells bad, but it works great. I certainly would buy this stuff all day long. Right now in the bottle, I'm using that as my bed adhesion on the Ender 3 glass. Right now, this is what I'm using for bed adhesion instead of my tried and true glue stick like you guys all know I like to use. I thought I'd try this out, and every time I've used it, it's worked great. Now, that being said, is it great for gluing PLA together? Absolutely. Brian knocked over my big statue that they made me a year ago, and the Filamentarian statue, which you guys I think have seen. So this is the Filamentarian statue. Brian knocked it over and broke it in 3 pieces. It broke at the waist, it broke at the arm, and I believe one of the legs broke off. Oh, no, this arm broke off and this hand broke off. So I glued it all back together using 3D Gloop. I also reinforced him to the stand so he doesn't wobble around too much anymore. And this is my Christmas ornament from Richard Taylor, which I just put there, so
It looks like a candle.
I don't lose it. Yeah, 3D printing llama. I love Gloop too. I think this stuff works amazingly well. I think it's great for printing, for bed adhesion. I think it's great for PLA to glue things back together, and I'm happy with it. Hey, my part's done. Let's see how it came out. Now that just came off the bed. A little bit of 3D Gloop on it, but that'll come right off. So there's my bezel for my monitor. Now this was done in matte black, and it looks good. Came out good. Now let's see if it actually fits into the monitor. Where did I put the monitor? I know I have it around here somewhere. It's in a brown box. Lord knows where I put things. But yeah, I gotta see if it fits. So just a little case. Hey, that would be it. My lovely assistant. So I've got this. I got the 7-inch display. Now this is meant for a Raspberry Pi. And I designed this in Fusion today. Let's see if it actually fits. Oh, like a glove. I do have to move the, do have a little bit of trimming to do, but that's what it looks like with the monitor in it. Look at that. Not bad for a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. That actually came out really nice. Now I just have to shuffle those posts around just a little bit, and that will be becoming my new monitor for my camera. Hey look, I am learning Fusion, okay? I'm a 2D guy. Give me a pencil and paper and a ruler and I can design you anything. Give me a 3D printer and some software. No. Yeah, this came out really nice. I'm just going to wash it down a little bit later and take off all the gloop that was adhered. And yeah, that'll look really nice. So I'm happy with that. That worked out good. Yeah, for sure gloop is sticky, too sticky at times. The secret I found to putting it on the bed is just do a very light coating. That's all you need, just a very light coating. Hobby Howie, what's your favorite Creality printer right now? You want my honest opinion? I'm going to give it to you. The CR10 Max. I love that thing for the size, for what it can do, and the ability that it has to print very large things. And the fact that it's got a BL Touch on it for bed leveling is even better. That's... I didn't have any problem taking this off. This just finished like a few minutes ago. And I didn't have any problem taking it off. The bed was, well, the bed was still at 40 degrees when I just popped this off. So that's not too terribly bad. But now that I know that it works, there's Saul. Hello, sir. Dustin Print's very good as well. I like Dustin Print as well. I have tried it. This stuff is amazing though. If you're trying to weld PLA together, instead of using super glue, use this stuff. It's so much better. Scott says he's got the Ender 5 Plus. I don't have the Ender 5 Plus. I haven't even seen one. They haven't showed up here at Spool 3D yet. When they do, of course, I'll do an unboxing and a build, and I'll give you guys my honest impression of it. But from what I've seen, some of the videos that are online right now, I think it's a great looking printer, and the size is amazing. John Kitchen's waiting for one as well. Yeah, so, you know, at the end of the day, what printer is best, that's subjective. It's, you know, it's all up to your own personal tastes and desires. I like Creality products. I like Wanhao products. I like Anycubic products. I'm really liking this TiVo Tornado. It's or Tarantula, TiVo Tarantula Plus or Pro. TiVo Tarantula Pro. I'm really liking this. Now that I've done a couple of little minor upgrades to it, the power supply and then the stepper drivers, it works great. I love it. It wasn't much to do. They give you all the firmware on the SD card. The SD card's kind of small. It's only 512 megabytes. Most companies are giving you a 4 to an 8 gigabyte SD card, but you know, to each their own, I guess. I would do away with this altogether, or if I were going to keep this, I would put it on some kind of surface that I could either clamp to or magnetically hold it down. That would be one of the things that I would do on this machine, just to really make it a contender, or something to blow Creality out of the water. Oh, Scott says you're a beta tester for the Ender 5. Wow. How big is the Ender 5? I don't know. I just know it's bigger than the Ender. The Ender 5 Pro is bigger than the Ender 5, but it's not as big as the CR10 Max. So.
Well, Scott, how did you become a beta tester?
Yeah, Scott, how did you become a beta tester for them? They won't even let me become a beta tester. What's the size on the Tarantula? They boast 240 by 240 by 250. Your printable area is 235 by 235 by 250. Or, yes, that's right.
That's if you put there.
John Kitchen, 350 by 350 by 400. Hey there, Cheryl C. from Thompson, Manitoba, my hometown. Hello, darling. How are you these days? Yes, Cheryl. My wife's in the studio tonight, Cheryl. The Tronxy X5S, or Tron XY. I'm not sure exactly how that's pronounced, but Cheryl comes at the end of the show. She probably was working tonight, that's why. So, with that said, we've got a new episode of Painting the Man of Steel. Are you guys liking that painting series? I just want to know, because if you guys like seeing that painting of 3D prints, I'm going to continue on with it. If you guys are not overly interested in it, we'll shelve it. It doesn't seem like it gets a ton of views, but it's if that's something you guys want to see me continue doing, like finishing prints, that would be great. If not, then we'll shelve it. What else? Then we've got another review coming up. We're probably going to do the review on this guy on Wednesday, or actually the build video on this one on Wednesday. That'll be coming out. And then we're back again next Saturday. I think Brian and Jess are back next week, so one of them will be here. So we'll see what happens. And that is pretty much it. If you guys like tonight's live stream, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below, share it with your friends. You know all that good stuff. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified every time we do something new. And I like watching the painting videos, William says. They're too long for me, though. Maybe time-lapse some of it. You know, William, I'll tell you why they're so long. Because what I'm trying to do with that is to give you guys every brush stroke. Maybe in the next series we'll cut them down. But a lot of people want to see every brush stroke. They want to know exactly what I'm doing so that they can follow along. That's why this first one is kind of a test for us. Scott says he sent me a message on Facebook. I will check it out after the show. I'd love to see a video on how to protect plastic from outdoor using UV protecting paints. That's something I should look into. I will definitely do that. Ed Devine, how long have you been doing this? I have actually been in 3D printing now for about 3 years. I've been doing this online, various different shows I've produced and hosted over the last 11 years. But before that, I was involved in the entertainment business, both as a on-air personality, live personality, and all kinds of other stuff. So, with that said, who's going to win, left or right? I don't know. I know you're bugging me about this. I need to play with my cube again. That's why. +1 to UV protection paints. Also interested in that. Okay, so we're gonna look up some UV protected paints. We're getting into our fall season here pretty soon, so I don't know how well that's going to work, but we'll try it out. Maybe we'll stick it in the window. But we'll try something. We'll print something PLA. We'll paint it in UV protected paints and see what happens. With that said, guys, thank you very much for joining me tonight. As always, love you guys. I love the fact that you join us here, and you guys always give me something new to think about at the end of a Saturday night. So you guys go and have a great weekend. It's a long weekend here, so I am not in studio again, or I'm not in the shop again until Tuesday, and that's when the doors are back open, and we're going to have a lot of shipping to do. So if you're in the Calgary or surrounding area and you need something done on Tuesday, don't bring it here. Bring it Wednesday. Because Tuesday is going to be a nightmare around here. Other than that, my friends, you guys remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print. Thank you again, and we'll see you guys next time.